How are you? Is it cold?
No, it's not cold!
The city of Norilsk is purely for work. As they usually say, Norilsk doesn't let anyone go.
Dad works fixing houses and Mom is a janitor and I hand out flyers.
This is my favorite city.
Greetings and welcome to another video. I'm in the Russian Arctic in the city of Norilsk. A city that could very well have come out of a science fiction book, but is very real and belongs to our planet Earth. Behind me is what was the first house in Norilsk, built in the year 1921 by the Soviet scientist Nikolai Nikolaevich Urbantsev's expedition. It was thanks to this expedition that they discovered the mineral deposits and realized the importance this city could have, and this site for Soviet industry. In just over a century, the city has grown rapidly, and it has been highly relevant both in the Soviet Union and in Russia today. Also globally, due to the many mineral deposits found here. You can find nickel, platinum, palladium, and minerals from the gold, silver, and copper groups. Join me today in a new video to learn a little more about the history of this unique city and its people. Let's go! Located in the Arctic and surrounded by gigantic factories, smoking chimneys, and steel structures, Norilsk evokes a futuristic landscape imbued with Soviet nostalgia for times gone by. The Russian Arctic's second-largest city symbolizes human perseverance and the ability to adapt to harsh conditions. Isolated from the rest of Russia, it is nearly inaccessible by road and only reachable by plane or boat. Originally built by the prisoners of the Gulag camp, today Norilsk is an iconic city worldwide. The mining company Norilsk Nickel almost entirely runs it. This company manages almost everything: roads, public transport, hospitals, schools, lighting, and logistics. Of its 175,000 residents, the company directly employs about 80,000 people. Norilsk Nickel leads the world in producing high-quality palladium and nickel, with 43% and 17% of the total world production. Among other minerals, it produces 12% of all the platinum in the world, 8% of rhodium, and 2% of copper. Batteries, chemistry, medicine, stainless steel, fiberglass, architecture, antiseptics, jewelry, electronics. These are some industries supplied by this mining giant. Because of its strategic value to the industry, Norilsk was closed to the public in Soviet times and only accessible with special permission or for work. It is no longer a closed city, but passport control for citizens remains at the airport. A strict visitation regime for foreign citizens makes access very difficult, since permission from the company and the Federal Security Service of Russia is required. On this trip, I explore the true nature of this city, long shrouded in mysticism and legends, and that I will finally be able to see for myself. Here, right in the center of the new city of Norilsk, next to one of the main avenues, and I'm sure that those of you who know this city will recognize those buildings that we are about to see in more detail. There is the statue of the scientist I was talking about, Nikolai Nikolaevich Urbantsev, who led the first scientific expedition. Not the first one, but the one when they realized there were key minerals here for the Soviet Union. And actually, even Peter I, during the Tsarist era of the Russian Empire, sent many expeditions in the 1700s for 10 years to explore the Russian Arctic and find a possible navigation route through the Arctic and Siberia. On the other side of this colorful Soviet-style building that houses the Norilsk Museum, we find a monument no less important to the tragic history of Norilsk. This monument honors all Norilsk victims. And, although we will go into more detail later, Norilsk was built in its early years by prisoners of the Gulag. And here we have the children, as you can see, well bundled up. Although today it's not as cold as it usually is, here temperatures can reach as low as -50, and -30. Today we have -5 degrees. It's November. Hello everyone, how are you? Is it cold?
No, it's not cold!
No, it's not cold. It's only -5 today. And even though you see everything covered in snow and with a wind that would terrify anyone, for the city's inhabitants, this is a warm day. Well, and here we continue our walk towards the main avenue, Lenin Avenue, in front of the Norilsk Museum. On the other side of the avenue, we have the Palace of Culture and, as you can see, the bus stations. Look, let's take a look. Here you can warm up because of how cold it is. They're enclosed and have heating and television so you don't get bored. Speaking of which, it's not as cold here as it could be. The city is known for having 9 months of harsh winter and only 3 months of summer, which is known for being rainy. Also, since it's in the Arctic Circle, from November 30th until mid-January, the polar night occurs. That is, you barely see the sun. If at all, there's no daylight at all during those months. The same occurs in summer, during polar day, when the sun never sets. It's mid-November as I record this video, so the polar night is only about 10 days away. But, as you can see, there's still some daylight left. About 5 hours a day that allow us to see and enjoy a bit without artificial light. But you'll see that's not a problem here because of the lighting they have. Later, we'll take a night walk around the city. We've now arrived at another monument that impressed me here, near the main avenue.
It's the monument dedicated to the builders of the city of Norilsk.
In 1953, Norilsk received city status. After those dark and tragic years of the Gulag camp, in 1953, with the death of Stalin, that form of repression by the Gulag ended. As I mentioned, Norilsk gained city status. And it was these builders, the very builders who were already working here in Norilsk, and others brought from all over the Soviet Union who built hospitals, schools, museums, cinemas, roads. In other words, all the infrastructure needed to be considered a big city. You can see the shirtless builder, very muscular here, almost covered by the snow. And down here you can read, "To the builders of Norilsk for their courage and their vital strength." Walking through the streets of Norilsk, we can find these buildings painted in very bright and contrasting colors. It's an attempt by the authorities to lift people's spirits a bit, at least visually, during these very gray days. A city that's in the Arctic Circle is not exactly known for having many sunny days. And here in front of us, we see other buildings, how they used to look in the past, which are waiting to be renovated, but still have. They retain this Soviet style from the Stalin era. Look at that blue building in the background. Sky blue and darker blue, contrasting with the red and yellow ones. Let's see over here. We've found a small landing. Wow. Oh, I'm about to fall. Look at how things are. To go down the stairs here, you practically need a sled. One peculiarity of these buildings, of these constructions, is that they're built on permafrost and are on pillars. Here you can see them. This is underneath a building. The foundations are iron pillars. And concrete that go into the ground up to 10 or 15 meters. Permafrost is a permanent ice layer. Are you from Norilsk?
Yes.
What's life like here? They say it's boring cold.
For us, it's neither boring nor cold.
Today, it's warm.
Yes, today is a hot day.
If they offer you to go live in the south, what do you say?
No, we're leaving.
You love this city, right?
Of course. It's my favorite city.
Thank you very much. As you can see, it's very hard to get people here to leave their city because of how attached they are to it. Even though for many of us it would seem impossible to live here, boring, difficult. These people are accustomed to living here. It's their home. These metal bars here, in this hallway that connects the main avenue with the homes, have a special function. Between these hallways, when the wind really picks up and the weather is bad, not like today, since we're fine, people hold on here because strong winds can knock you down and stop your progress. In the center of the main square of Norilsk, the square dedicated to the metallurgists, well, to the metal workers. The monument stands in their memory with an inscription that reads, "Here the obelisk will be preserved forever, as a reminder of the feat of the inhabitants of Norilsk who built in the tundra." our city and our combinat, well, our factory. Right behind this monument, we have the main offices of Nornickel, which is the company that manages all these mineral resources and is basically responsible for running the city. It is with the taxes and sales it generates, the income it gets from these metals, that subsidies or payments are also made for the public transportation system, street lighting, communication, schools, hospitals, soccer stadiums, movie theaters, and so on. It's a kind of city run by a private company nowadays. Before, it was the Norilsk Combinat, that is, the factory during communist times in Norilsk. And well, after the fall of the Soviet Union, it was privatized and became Nornickel. Look at how beautiful the architecture is in this central square and this avenue. It's in the Stalinist architectural style and it evokes Nevsky Avenue, Nevsky Prospect in St. Petersburg. Look at these columns. Don't tell me they don't have their own charm.
Look, what a beautiful entrance with the current logo and the medals of the Order of Lenin, the October Revolution, and the Soviet Union.
One of the things that really caught my attention is that the university, the museum, and the soccer field, everything has in front written Zapolyarny, Zapolyarny, which in Russian means something like beyond the pole, since it's in the Arctic Circle. Everything has that prefix. I find it very interesting, you know, that they put it on governmental things, on institutional things too. Tell me, please, is this the northernmost church in the world?
It seems there's another one even farther north.
Isn't this the northernmost Orthodox cathedral?
I don't know, but there are some farther north than us.
I see, thank you. Tell me, please, is this the northernmost church?
We have the northernmost mosque. There are churches further north in small villages.
But this is the biggest one, right?
Yes.
I understand, thank you. Well, there are churches further north in small towns, but the biggest one is this one. Look, this is interesting. Well, at least it seemed that way to me. I've noticed that many of the buildings aren't completely connected. I mean, there's always a small gap between them, like with these two. They're residential buildings. Maybe they'd be together in another city without this gap, but here there is one. And it happens often citywide. And look again at the pillars I mentioned before. Look, you can see it here. See? All the buildings have them, like here it's covered by this grill, but you see all the pillars that are driven into the continuous permafrost meters deep to give the building stability. Not sure if the camera shows it, but it's full of pillars. and look in front of these buildings. Another thing that makes this city very characteristic, of course, is the mining industry. There you have one of the factories you can see from here. Look at how it releases all those gases. It looks like they're forming a cloud over the city. The pollution is very high and the air quality is quite bad. Although in recent years, a lot of efforts are being made to reverse this situation. Since there were very old companies that polluted a lot, and in fact, one of the oldest has already been closed. This is the typical scene, the typical postcard that we can find in this city. Now I'm on Military Glory Avenue, that's what it's called here in Norilsk. And in case you were wondering, what does the eternal flame look like that you can find in any city in Russia? Well, here in Norilsk, it looks like this. There were 7,600, a little more people who were sent to the front from Norilsk. Apart from the contribution made by the citizens of Norilsk by going to the front, there were also the factories and the industry here in Norilsk. It played a very important role in the conflict. Notice the importance that Norilsk had in the Second World War, in the Great Patriotic War, as the Russians call it. Here, I'm reading that the Norilsk factory produced in 1944 more nickel than what the Soviets received from the United States through Lend-Lease during the entire war. Also that on May 1st, 1942, the first shipment of nickel was sent to the factories in the Urals. And on August 22nd, the first tank made with this metal from Norilsk rolled off the production line. Look, another very peculiar thing about the city of Norilsk are these giant numbers that you will see on the buildings. You can spot them on many buildings throughout the city, and not the usual house numbers. Why do you think that is? It's for no other reason than the huge blizzards and snowstorms they have here throughout the year, and that make it impossible to see normal small numbers like the ones we have in all our cities. Instead, you have to use huge numbers to be able to find your way when there's a blizzard or unbearable storm. The same thing happens with traffic signs. Unlike streetlights, they're not raised directly from the ground. As we're used to, they're firmly attached to the walls to prevent the wind from blowing them away. And as it couldn't be any other way, here at the beginning of Lenin Avenue, we have Vladimir Ilyich Lenin, the statue they have in Norilsk. Notice again what I was telling you about the architecture of this avenue, which emulates Nevsky Prospect in St. Petersburg. Look how beautiful, with those huge arches, hallways between the buildings to connect one side of the avenue to the other. And these, well, decorated in turquoise green. I don't know if you can see it with the camera. I'll get a little closer now, but it's full of businesses, well, of industries. You can see many there on the outskirts of Norilsk. Look, another thing you often see in these cities in Siberia, in Russia, well, and generally all over the world, right? In the north, it's common to leave the car running so it doesn't turn off, even though today it's not that cold. Here, there's no one in the car. The owner probably went for a walk, who knows, maybe to the store to buy something or whatever, and just leaves the car running here alone. This is a typical practice here, and there you have it. The impressive mountain that overlooks Norilsk. All the factories surrounding the city, and where the old city of Norilsk was located, which was later replaced by the new one that starts here. Well, the old city is over there. There are some abandoned buildings and some abandoned factories still left around there. If it wasn't clear before with the church or the Northernmost cathedral, now we have reached the northernmost mosque on the entire planet Earth, in the whole world. Here it is, it's located in Norilsk. Let's take a look if we can. Let's see how it looks inside. The first thing I wonder is, during the polar day, if Ramadan falls then, you know that Ramadan is a fast, which forbids eating and drinking, well, and other things during the day. As long as there's sunlight here, when there are all those weeks of sunlight, if Ramadan falls then, how do they do it, right? Poor people. I think there are some exceptions for people who live at the poles, so don't worry, they can eat. Look, it says, "Dear visitors, by the grace of Allah, please close the doors tightly when you pass through." In Norilsk, according to what I've read, there are about 30,000 Muslims. And that's why this mosque was built, even though it's small. Right now they've just called for prayer and people are already coming to pray. About 4 or 5, including the Imam, and those who will come now. Well then, after having visited the world's northernmost mosque, now, before it gets dark, I want to go to a place on the outskirts of Norilsk. I'm going to take a taxi. Let's see if we have time to visit it. Let's go. Look, and here we have this situation again. The cars are left running while the worshippers have come to pray at the mosque. They leave them on so the engine doesn't get cold. Is he from Norilsk?
No, from Dagestan.
Did he come to work?
I came to visit and I stayed to work. What do you think of Norilsk?
It's fine cold.
This is nothing.
Have you lived here for long?
I've been here for a year already.
I imagine that living here, once you get used to it, is fine. But for us from the south?
Yeah, when I landed here, it was really hard. Afterwards, you get used to it. January and February are really tough here. Minus 50 degrees Celsius, minus 58 degrees Celsius sometimes. And the fruit here compared to Dagestan? Very expensive. The products here are very expensive. The city of Norilsk is purely for work. After work, you go straight home and that's it. At most, you go buy groceries or something you need. There's nowhere you can spend your free time. On one hand, that's fine.
You can make good money here, right?
Yeah, the salaries here are good.
I've read that they pay a bonus for living here.
Yeah, they pay you for housing, for food.
How much does it cost to rent a 3-bedroom apartment?
It depends on the condition of the apartment. Between 40,000 and 50,000 rubles, 400 to 500 euros. There are also boarding houses. For 20,000 to 25,000 rubles, you can rent 20 square meters, 200 to 250 euros.
Is there a big difference in food quality compared to Dagestan?
It's the same. They bring it from there. Tomatoes are very expensive. Fruit and vegetables are expensive.
How much? 5 times more?
Yes, sometimes more. The same tomato in Dagestan costs at most 150 rubles per kilo, 1.5 euros in winter. And here now they cost about 800 rubles per kilo, 8 euros per kilo.
And are they brought from Dagestan?
It's Dagestan, Azerbaijan.
By plane?
Yes, by plane or by boat along the Yenisei River. Once we were without internet for an entire day because of snowstorms. Lightning struck a station or something like that.
Well, I've reached where I wanted to go. Here I am at the edge of Norilsk, where the old city used to be, and I've arrived at the memorial that's here. To the prisoners who died and perished while they were building all the mines, well, in the companies and the city to exploit these minerals. From the 1930s until well into the 1940s, more than 500,000 prisoners from all over the Soviet Union passed through here. And when in 1953, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the Norilsk Gulag was eliminated. And from others that were also in the sparsely populated regions here in Siberia, in northern Siberia and in the Krasnoyarsk Krai, many of them decided to stay. In total, it is estimated that out of the 77,000 inhabitants there were in 1953, 67,000 were former prisoners of the Gulag. And to this day, there are still about a dozen or 20 left of citizens of Norilsk who come from those prisoners, and who are still alive today, who are and were prisoners of that Gulag. You can see there in the background, before entering this one, memorial, what the huts looked like, where the prisoners and the workers of the Gulag stayed. Imagine for just a moment, if it was already hard to be in a Gulag, imagine being here. In these conditions, with 9 months of winter, where temperatures reach -60, blizzards, harsh. And having to work here, forced labor, what that meant. Poor nutrition, deplorable conditions. Look how would these barracks look nowadays? Partial recreations at the foot of the tremendous icy mountain. At the memorial entrance, there's an inscription that says, "Here on Mount Schmidt was the site of the first cemetery or burial place of Norilsk. Between 1935 and 1956, tens of thousands of dead were buried here, after having died in the Gulag, in the Norilsk of the Soviet Union. There were citizens both from the Soviet Union and from other countries. This memorial, this initiative began to be conceived in the 1990s with the help of the Nornickel Company and other countries, such as the Baltics and Poland. You've already seen it, tens of thousands of prisoners from the Soviet Union and elsewhere died here, victims of exhaustion of forced inhuman labor. Practically, even today, this is a great feat. The miners who are here nowadays, the workers of Norilsk and in general all over the world, wherever there are mines and jobs that are really hard to complete. Can you imagine being in that situation? It gives you goosebumps just thinking about it. They were the ones who built the railway that carries all those goods to other parts of Russia and the former Soviet Union. Here you have a memorial that commemorates the construction of the railway. They were also the ones who built the first roads. The ones who did the first earthworks and civil infrastructure, civil engineering, to shape the land for the future factories, future industries, and future inhabitants. They were also the ones who did the first excavations by hand. Due to the harsh weather here, using heavy machinery was nearly impossible. I mean, it was really tough work, honestly. I think that even if we tried to imagine it, we couldn't come close to what it really was. Even here in this memorial, we have a plaque that honors the memory of the Japanese prisoners and similar statements. We who survived hear the voices of the Japanese prisoners in the blizzard. And we will do everything possible to make sure that those harsh conditions that befell them never happen again. As we enter the old city, trucks transporting materials, cars that take workers from one place to another, a lot of electric wires, gas pipes, and snow, of course. Walking here is tough. I don't know if I would live here or how long I could stand living here. If I had to come here for work, to feed my family, to support them financially or whatever. But this city does have a certain charm. A mix of such stately buildings. A mix of giant companies. One of the largest mineral reserves in the world. I get the feeling that if some aliens came and parked their flying saucers here, they'd be amazed at what this human race is capable of doing. Because of industrial development. Look, that's what I wanted to show you in the background. Some buildings look abandoned, but I'm not sure if they really are. The thing is, it helps me explain what I wanted to say, which is that in this old city of Norilsk, quite a few buildings were moved to the new city. Which is where I was this morning. And here, there are basically only factories, warehouses, and a few other active buildings left. Wow, there's so much snow here. As soon as I can, I'll get on a bus. It does have a certain charm, you know. To be honest, there aren't many places like this on the planet. Look at the scenes and the images the city gives us in the fog. There, in the background. On the mountainside, you can see all those little lights that belong to businesses and factories. It's as if they're decorating the mountain with little lights. Hey, by the way, that's a bus. I'm going to catch it. Let's get out of here. Could you please let me know when we get to the bus station?
He's going to put it there.
In how long?
Now we're leaving the city and heading over there.
We're already back to civilization. Specifically at the Norilsk bus stop. I'm going to see if I can get to Talnaj, which is part of what's called Greater Norilsk. It used to be a separate neighborhood or city, but it was recently included in the city of Norilsk. And it also has a lot of mining history, so let's go. Well, first of all, I just saw a shawarma here. Hey, you don't get the chance to have a shawarma here in the Arctic Circle every day. Honestly, I haven't eaten today, so let's see how it is. Hi, one shawarma, please. We're going to have a Turkish doner in the end. Well, here we have the doner from Norilsk. A little snack on this trip. As always, to your health. Here you have it, chicken meat, tomato, some veggies, and jalapeno, because I asked for a bit of spice. This cost me 450, which compared to Moscow.
Is it good?
It's nearly 200 rubles more. Yes, it's very good. The guy from the Caucasus, Azerbaijan, told me he's been here 6 years but will return next year. He's bored and can't take it anymore. Take care. See you. Delicious. Now that I've recharged my energy here at the Norilsk shawarma place with the guys from Azerbaijan, it's time to head towards Talnaj. Let's take the bus, come on. Look at what's here. What's this? A Nornickel clothing souvenir shop. Watch out! Well, I'm starting to feel that way. If I see it's sold to regular people later, maybe I'll get one. Hello, do you work here?
Yes, how can I help you?
Is this just for workers or can you buy it as a souvenir?
There are some for the bosses and some for the workers.
For example, the boss has to be distinguished from the rest of the crew. This one and this one are for the bosses, this one is for a worker. There are many types of suits.
How much do they cost?
1 second.
Let's see, this is actually just out of curiosity.
I don't know if I'm going to buy myself one of those work jackets from Norilsk from Nornickel.
Hi, as an ordinary citizen, could I buy one or is it not possible?
Of course you can.
And how much do these jackets cost?
They include pants costing 6, 8 or 12,000 rubles, 60, 80 or 120 euros.
In the store, I have many models.
And why do they sell them right here? Is it for the workers?
Yes.
I see, they come back by bus and buy it here.
Where are you from, brother?
Spanish. And you?
From Azerbaijan.
I just talked to some guys from Azerbaijan at the kebab place.
In this city, 30% are from Azerbaijan.
That's why the mosque, right?
Yes, Dagestanis, Azerbaijanis, Ossetians.
How's life around here? Are you just passing through, working and saving up?
Yes, I've been working here for almost 20 years now.
20 years is a long time.
Of course, it's a lot, almost half a lifetime.
And don't you ever feel like going back to Azerbaijan?
We go there every year, 20 years in a row. It would be very complicated here.
And forever?
Forever, I want either Krasnodar or Azerbaijan, Siberia.
Siberia? It's not that it's boring, but of course the climate is very different, right?
Of course.
Alright, thank you very much for the conversation. Curious about what he's saying? 30% of the city of Norilsk are Azerbaijanis. Oh my, of course. Also from other republics, like Dagestan and Ossetia too. It's very striking to me how people, well, who have a climate very similar to what we have in Spain or in some parts of America. People from warmer areas are encouraged to come here, and this guy, specifically, has already been here for 20 years, which is not a short time. The kebab guy had been here for 6, but this one, 20. Then the taxi driver, 1 year. Phew! The longer they stay, the more money they save, because here the salaries are a bit higher than in the rest of Russia. And then they can enjoy retirement in their homeland, you know? Maybe they buy a house or build a house there. And well, we've already arrived at the bus station. There you have the coat of arms of Norilsk, which is the polar bear with the key to the city. And right now it's -6, pretty warm, pretty nice. It's 5:20 in the afternoon. That's enough talk. Let's catch the bus. Is this the bus station?
Yes, this is it.
Well, here's the bus. I think we're going to be a little cramped. I finally arrived in Talnaj, the Talnaj district, well, which is currently part of Greater Norilsk. There you have it written, Talnaj. The capital of minerals, and this city is considered the mineral capital of all Russia. More than 3,000 kilometers of excavations beneath this land to extract all kinds of minerals. 3,000 kilometers of tunnels. Just to give you an idea, the Moscow metro is about 300 kilometers.
Look, just for a moment, appreciate.
Here are the train tracks, with all the goods, the freight cars, and with the Nornickel company logo. Transporting all the minerals, there you have it. This train line was created exclusively for extracting minerals from these deposits. Take a look. What a huge train, you can barely see the end. Over there it just keeps going, filled with minerals to the top. You can see some that already have snow on top of them, but others behind are carrying some big chunks of rocks like that. Huge minerals. And from here to other parts of Siberia and Russia for processing, well, and in Norilsk for mineral processing, extraction, and sale. It is estimated that 1/5 of all the nickel in the world comes from these mines. And 90% of all the nickel extracted in Russia comes from here. The city of Talnaj was founded in 1960, that is, shortly after the construction of the new Norilsk began. And as you can see, it also has many residential buildings, painted in this peculiar color, in this case green and yellow. And it also has a shopping mall there. It feels colder than it is. My ears are uncovered, but I assure you it's not as cold as it seems. Look at how much snow there is. I was reading the other day that this is one of the cities where the most snow falls per inhabitant. It's estimated each Norilsk resident receives 10 tons of snow every year. Just so you get an idea, 10 tons per person. Look at that, wow. Cable Stayed Bridge. And it's the first time on the whole trip that I notice. There's a smell in the air, a smell I don't really know how to describe. In this case, it's kind of like, I don't know, a campfire smell. I read somewhere that it smelled a lot like sulfur. But I must have a messed up nose or something, because it doesn't smell that much. It does smell kind of like a bonfire, with a certain hint of something I can't identify. Maybe that's it. And look back there with those red neon lights. There's another one of Nornickel's offices. Now they're blue. Those neon lights keep changing colors. Offices and factory. From there, the trains loaded with all the materials depart and you can hear them. You constantly hear the signal of the trains leaving and moving along the tracks. Look how curious. What's this? It must be a club or old disco or something. I don't know if it's open, but look, palma, just what we need here, right? Palm trees. Excuse me, can you tell me where the museum is?
Go past the house that's blue and white. You'll see it there.
Thank you.
It might be closed.
Maybe. Is it hard for you to go up?
No, I'm fine.
Alright, thank you. You saw Grandma. She was strong, calmly walking on the ice and up the hill. She says it's good for her and everything's fine. Look here, in the middle of a little square next to the Norilsk Museum, we have a bell with the image of Saint Barbara. First time I've seen this in Russia, especially here in Talnaj. Look, what a little sign I found at an entrance. It says, "And you, are you for order, the typical image of the revolutionary soldier?" Well, if I'm not mistaken, I've arrived at what is the museum building. But well, this looks like it's closed. Exactly, it says right there, closed from 11 to 7. If it were Friday, it would be open. Oh, but well, let's see. Nothing, they're going to kick me out. Whoa, wow, there are even harsher signs against scammers. It says, "Attention scammers." Let's see. Hello, are you closed?
Yes.
Excuse me, is this the museum?
Yes.
All right, I just wanted to see the miners' exhibition.
Yes, tomorrow after 1 o'clock you can...
Have you been living here for a long time?
I was born here.
How would you explain to people who don't live here what life is like in Norilsk? I imagine you like living here, right?
I wouldn't know how to explain it. You have to experience it.
I understand.
As they usually say, Norilsk doesn't let anyone escape. It's very difficult. Some people leave for decades, but only temporarily.
It's beautiful here. Everything is white.
They say it's beautiful. We've already gotten used to it. There's a good view here.
I think it's beautiful, but of course I'm from the south. I don't know how much I could...
For you it's not beautiful there, but for us it is, and here we've already gotten used to it.
Thank you very much for your words. I'm heading back to Norilsk. The museum was closed. You saw it? So it's time to head back to Norilsk, but not before taking a walk around here. And let's see if I can capture that beauty from the viewpoint. As I told the guy, they're already used to it, something that's very beautiful for us, but for them it's just another day. Look, do you want to see how people go down the stairs in this part of the world? Each one by... Damn, like this. When did they build it?
They opened it last fall in 2022. When I started working, it was brand new, Sinora. People come and the church takes on those prayers.
Do mostly miners and their families come?
Yes, it's a mining city. There's also a copper factory nearby. They bring in workers for 2 months and then they go back home for a month. They come and go.
You weren't born here?
Not here, but in the north.
You used to work here and now you take care of the church, right?
I'm already retired. I'm a pensioner.
Were you a miner?
No, a boxing coach. This is an icon for the family.
Who are they?
It's Fevronia and Pedro. He was a wealthy knight and she was a simple commoner. He fell ill with leprosy and she cured him. They got married and lived together all their lives. She is considered an icon for the well-being of the family. Here is the family of Tsar Nikolai II.
It's the first time I've seen an icon with the Romanovs. Interesting. All the members who were killed in Yekaterinburg are here. Are they considered saints?
Yes. It's written in an ancient language. Saints Tsarevich Nikolai, Tsarina Olga, Tsarina Anastasia, Tsarevich Alexei, Tsarina Alexandra, Tatiana, and Maria. They died during Stalin's repression, Stefan Nalibayko and Pedro Ignatov. They died here in Norilsk, in the Norilsk camp. They were priests, they were sent to the Gulag and died here. Isabel and Saint Barbara of Nicomedia. She is the patron saint of miners. This is her church and it bears her name. This is a mining city. We have mines everywhere. It's very important.
Who financed this church, Cornicle as well?
Yes, Cornicle.
Is she the one who builds everything, right?
Well, yes. Who here has the most money? Nornickel.
Did they bring the icons from Moscow?
Of course.
Did Patriarch Kirill come to the inauguration?
Of course, he himself came, and the director of Nornickel, everyone came. Here, candles are placed for the repose and there for health. You say the prayer and place the candle. It's written in a certain way. Don't go that way. We have to go around. Only the priest can.
Of course, I didn't know. Thank you.
Not everyone knows. I myself didn't know some time ago. The Holy Matron of Moscow, she was born blind and healed many people. The sick come to her, pray to her, and kiss her.
People kiss the icon, right?
Yes, they kiss it and it is cleaned for the next person. Here is Archbishop Luka of Crimea. He was in the war. He was a very good doctor. He wrote a letter to Stalin, and they sent him to the front, where he helped the wounded. He treated all kinds of wounds. Stalin wasn't stupid. He knew he was a good doctor. Don't you drink holy water?
I've never drunk it.
It's very good on an empty stomach, a glass in the mornings. But first, say a prayer. Here we keep the holy water. This is the prayer you have to say. In the morning, you wake up, say the prayer, drink a little glass, and you're all set. I'll give it to you if you behave, because lately Spain hasn't been behaving very well.
Why?
No, I mean the government. You see, we're not bad people here.
Now it seems like everyone is like that.
Yeah, look at Israel. Here you go. Holy water, the priest blesses it. It's water from here.
Thank you very much. I just came out of the cathedral. I wasn't expecting this kind of welcome from Sanya at all, a former boxing coach who now works here as the caretaker of this cathedral's storage. I don't know why I decided to find the world's northernmost cathedral. There's another one in Dixon, small churches, but this one isn't far behind the one in Norilsk. And well, I got here, he even gave me holy water. He said, if you behave yourself. Now we're finally heading back to Norilsk. Already heading back to downtown Norilsk. Now on Lenin Avenue, where we basically started the video this morning. I already told you I was going to show it to you in the afternoon. A promise is a promise. Here you can see all the lights. You walk down the street and it's very bright. It almost feels like daytime, right? Pretty much. Most streets in Norilsk look like this. Check out how it appears at night, especially this corridor. I wanted to show you some mosaics. Let's see if we can find any, but look. We've come across this decoration, kind of like a mirror mosaic with some doves over here. What's happening? A car. How strong is the wind? And it gives it a touch of color. This kind of mosaic gives the city a touch of color, just like the walls painted in those bright, flashy colors. The splash of color people in Norilsk have on their walls. You'll also see these kind of neon lights around the city, not just the typical street lights, but also a lot of neon attached to the buildings. Which, besides the color they use to paint the walls, also lights up and adds a bit of liveliness, right, to all this gray. And of course, Nornickel's advertisement couldn't be missing here, with the inscription that says, "Symbol of Reliability." And you see the huge tank or cube, I don't know how to call it, container in the nickel smelter. Here you have it, the reliability of Nornickel. And there, in the background, we have something very current, a sign inviting you to enlist as a volunteer in the special operation, an army poster. This is what I wanted to show you to end this nighttime walk through Norilsk.
Look at this beautiful Soviet mosaic in honor of the metallurgy workers.
Here you have them in the foundries, the miners breaking the stone, and then at the fire melting all the metals. Spectacular mosaic. Damn, this one seems a bit angry.
Hello?
Hello. He asked me for water. For you.
Thank you.
How's life around here?
Everything's fine here, but store prices have increased. Yes, meat has gone up in price.
Do your parents work in mining?
Dad works fixing houses and Mom is a janitor. I hand out flyers.
Very good. Were you born here?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Subscribe.
Super! What a nice guy. He asked me for a bit of water. Well, that's it. The water I got at church earlier is for this thirsty guy. Look, what a collection of mosaics, besides the metal ones we saw earlier. Here there's also another one in honor of the conquest of space. It must be because of what looks like a rocket and the astronauts, the cosmonauts. And there, in the back, there are others too, which I can't see very well. I'll show you now. But this whole avenue is full of Soviet mosaics that are pretty well preserved. Very beautiful. It must be due to the cold and everything. How curious, I'm thinking. The boy came up to me asking for 100 rubles for water, and I just happened to have the holy water with me. In my hand, as they gave me earlier. What a coincidence, right? People rarely ask me for 100 rubles for water. To end the day, I've come here to a restaurant that's a bit different from what I usually do on my trips. It's a bit fancy, you know, tablecloths like this, some music playing, really cool. The thing is, it's right next to the hostel where I'm staying. But yeah, to end the day, a beer, as always, couldn't miss it. And I ordered an elk tartare, which is typical here in Siberia. Cheers to you all. Damn, the tartare is really delicious. And the meat is tender and soft. The elk is really tasty. This must be the first time I've tried it. I was trying to remember, but yeah, now, you know. If you like this kind of thing and you're a meat lover, you have to try elk. Here in Siberia, prices are a bit higher than in other regions of Russia. The tartare cost me 950 rubles and the beer 500. So all of this comes to about 15 euros at the current exchange rate. I'm going to keep eating now. Well, actually, having dinner. See you in the next video. I want to visit the outskirts of Norilsk to explore and learn more about the area. Cheers. See you.